Hi everybody, so I'm just going to walk you through a couple of problems, and so feel free to pause as needed. So the goal is to graph a quadratic function, and just in case you forgot how to do it, the first thing it says up here, it says sketch, oops, that is not the right thing. It says sketch the graph of y equals x squared minus 1. So at this point in time, we're just going to hop over to Desmos and do that. All right, so if that's the case, I'm going to come over to Desmos and let's see, where am I at? Here is Desmos, and I already have it up there. So x squared minus 1. So as I look, so it opens up and it's got an axis of symmetry here. That's right where it crosses. But the first thing I want to do is find where the vertex is. And so I can just click on it. So the vertex is at 0, negative 1. So I'm going to pop back over here. And I always put the vertex right in the middle here. Now, usually we have it up and down, but today I've got the chart side to side, and it should be okay. So I saw that my vertex was at 0, 1. So I come over here, or was it 1 or negative 1? It was negative 1. So I come and I'm going to put a point right there. Now, if that's the case, I know that that spot, would you draw in, that's your axis of symmetry. And so the axis of symmetry is always just whatever the x point is. So my vertex, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to write my vertex was at 0, negative 1. And my axis of symmetry, you always have to have the x, so x equals 0. Then it wants me to find the roots. So the roots, that's my zeros. I sometimes call them, that's, or my x-intercept. So that is where the graph of the quadratic is going to cross the x-axis. So I'm going to go back over and look because we've got a couple of things going on. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to say, okay, 0, 1, and then I just go 1 over to the right. Look at, there's a nice point. Oh, 1, 0. Well, if it's a 0 right here, that means 1, 0 is my point. And then, do you see how it kind of reflects? If this is the axis of symmetry right over on this side, negative 1, 0 works as well. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put those in. So I've got, let's see, let's go green. So when x is 1, y is 0. But also when x is negative 1, y is 0. So I've got a point here and a point right there. Now I want 5 points, so I'm just going to do one more over. I should be able to go over to 2. Now quick thought, I could just plug in 2 right here. 2 squared is 4 minus 1. So I think that 2, let's see, 2 squared is 4 minus 1 is 3. So if I put a 2 in, I should get a 3. Let's check and see if that's what the graph says. For 2 up. Yes, 2, 3. Okay, so what if I put negative 2 in? Hey, negative 2, I get 3 as well. So I'm going to go back here and fill that in. So negative 2, 3. And do you see how these two match up? And then these two match up as well. So over 2, up 3. So is that making it, and then it just reflects over here, is that making a parabola? The answer is yep. So I'm going to do my best to draw that. I struggle to draw these on when I'm doing it on my computer screen. It's easier to do it on paper. But there's my parabola. It should really come like right there. Well, yeah, best I could do. So now, quick question. My vertex is at 0, negative 1. Where are my roots? That's where it crosses right here. So my roots are at x equals positive 1 and x equals negative 1. So I'm going to go, I have one at positive 1 and I have one at negative 1. So a couple of things. This right here, this x equals 0 is a line. So that's the line at x equals 0. These roots are just points at negative, so this is negative 1, 0, this is positive 1, 0. So there's kind of different things going on. So my solutions are positive 1 and negative 1. Now here's a question. Does this open up or down? Yeah, you should be able to see that it opens up, which means this spot right here, is that a maximum or a minimum? You're right, that's a minimum. A quick thing up here, when we do the quadratic formula, we've got to fill in the a, the b, and the c. So that's a really good idea. Maybe I should have done that right away. The a always is what lives in front of the x squared. So I wasn't crossing that out. I was just drawing that there is a 1 in front of that x squared. So I'm going to come back here, and my a is 1. Then my b is always the number in front of just the plain x, but there isn't anything. That means there's 0 x's. So in this case, my b is 0, and then my c is always, it's c for constant, and so that's just the little guy that lives over here. And so I have to take into account the negative. So c is negative 1. All right. These are super important because we're going to use those later to do the quadratic formula. So there, hopefully that was helpful and gives you one if you needed a little bit of extra guidance.